It's my 1-year anniversary of Wow Me Wednesday. Woo! Thanks for joining me for my celebration. I'm here with my #1 fan, Cooper, over here. Thank you so much for all your support over the last year. 52 weeks, 52 videos. It's hard to believe that I stuck with it every week, and I thank you for the encouragement and sticking with me and asking me questions, engaging with me. And I am really excited for this accomplishment as well as what's to come as my business keeps growing. Hi Amy, hi Catherine, thank you for joining me live. Feel free to write in your questions in the comments and I'll answer them as I go along. Let me give you some reflections over the past year. I was looking back at my very first video 1 year ago today, and man, I remember the feeling of nervousness leading up to it. And I've been on live TV before, but it's been several years, and also making myself vulnerable. I'm not reporting the news, but I'm reporting about myself and my business, my new business, and it was a lot for me to put myself out there like that. And also because I wasn't perfect. I didn't have everything planned out. I didn't have the perfect studio with a beautiful background. And, you know, I just thought, I'm just gonna do it anyways. I gotta start. You gotta start somewhere, right? When it comes to anything. We can't let fear get in the way. Otherwise, we're never gonna go anywhere. Hi, Sharon. Thank you for joining me live. And so fast forward 52 weeks later, I've definitely grown and progressed and learned from my own mistakes. And I have you guys to thank for helping me along and giving me ideas and allowing me to not be perfect and hitting like and share anyways. So thank you for that. So I see that people have been writing questions. Hi, Lydio. Thank you for joining me. Amy writes in. So I'm on my phone, so I'm scrolling down here. Amy is a friend of mine who has recently written a book and is going on tour, speaking and giving interviews on local news media. And she's asking, when you know you have to fill 2 to 3 minutes of time, what type of roadmap do you have in your head so you keep your thoughts organized and you get all of your main points across? Really great question, Amy. It's really hard when you're put on the spot, especially when it comes to interviews, to have something planned out, something coherent, as well as something that has feeling and is authentic to you. So a formula that you can keep in mind, which I share with clients and groups that I talk to as well when it comes to pitching yourself. So here's a little bit of an acronym you can think of. APE, Y. So this will make more sense. APE, A-P-E, and then the word Y. So A stands for audience. Who's your audience? I always say, no matter who you're talking to, you always want to keep the audience in mind, whether it's a live audience, whether it's you're speaking on camera, whether it's one-on-one. Who are you talking to and why should they care, right? So think about that, how you're going to come across that way. What next? The P is the problem you solve. What's the problem you solve for them? That obviously answers why should they care, right? The E is emotions. How are they going to feel after working with you? Or in your case, Amy, after reading your book? And then why? What is your why? People buy why you do it. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And that is according to Simon Sinek. Watch his TED Talk if you haven't done so already. Definitely look it up. Simon, S-I-N-E-K. So let me review this. APE, Y. Audience, who's your audience? So for Amy, your example, I'll use you as an example. Your audience, if you're speaking on camera and you're doing a media interview at a local TV station, your audience is the local viewers. Why should they care? Your book is to help mothers expectant mothers to be able to eat healthy during their pregnancy, right? So there's pregnant mothers, obviously, all over the place. So you can talk about how, if they ask you, tell me about your book, such a general statement or question, right? You can talk about how, for all you mothers out there, have any of you had a hard time figuring out what you should eat, what you shouldn't eat? You hear this and you hear that, and you're just torn as far as what is nutritious, what is going to prepare my body best for my baby. So you can say, personally, I face that as well. So you can commiserate with them, you can empathize with them. So that's addressing your audience. The problem you solve, you help give them a guide, menus, beautiful photos to help them choose the right meals, prepare the right meals so that they have a healthy pregnancy. So that's what you can express next. Your emotions, or touching upon their emotions, is the E. How are they going to feel after working with you or reading your book? So I believe that you'll feel a sense of relief and security after reading my book, because you'll have it all laid out simply for you. And here's proof as to why this works, or how this works. It worked for me, it worked for so-and-so, and all your other case studies and people that you've included in the book. And then your why statement. And really the why statement could be earlier on, but why, I want to emphasize the why, and that can be a nice close. But your why you do what you do. And you can talk about, I believe, you can start with the word I believe, the words. I believe that everyone, I'm going to make this up, but I believe that every mother can have a healthier pregnancy, free of diabetes and complications, if they follow certain guidelines. I mean, I know you probably can't guarantee that, but something like that. So, your why statement of why you wrote the book. You feel like you can help people. Using the word help is so key as well in a pitch. So APE, why again? Audience, the problem you solve, how are they going to feel, the emotions after working with you, and your why statement. So I hope that was helpful for you, Amy. Some other people wrote in some questions to me, and so thanks to Debbie, who wrote in about how to control your timing as a speaker or as a moderator. So you have 1 hour of time to speak, right? So how do you make sure you're staying on track? What I like to do is to, one, ensure that I have a clock within view, I have my phone, or I have a computer, or my watch that's within sight, so I can keep track of my time as I go. Oftentimes, I include videos in my presentations and workshops, or exercises that I can extract or add if I'm running short on time or long on time. So, and then another tip, tip number 2, is to have someone in the audience, preferably someone you know, someone who's part of your organization, a coworker maybe, to help you keep track of time. So giving you time cues like 30 minutes or 15 minutes, 5 minutes, wrap it up, to give you time cues so that they can wave you down so you don't have to be glancing down at your watch or your phone. As a moderator, if there's someone else speaking, you're moderating a panel, or you're the organizer of the event, you want to also let the speaker know beforehand that, hey, I'm going to give you time cues so that you can stay on track, because I want to be respectful of your time as well as the audience's time, so you can help control that. Really, really important, whether you're the moderator or the speaker, is in the introduction, in the beginning of your presentation, you want to say that I want to keep this, if it's a more casual event, you want to keep it free-flowing, you'd like to hear their thoughts. However, if you're including Q&A throughout your presentation, however, if it seems like it's going off track, the conversation's going off track, I may interrupt and bring us back on track and on topic so we can stay on time to be respectful of your limited time. So I hope that's helpful for you all to help monitor your time. Another question that I got, I'm gonna scroll to see if there's any more since I'm missing some. Thanks for joining me, everybody. Hi, Fred and Lisa. Hi, Nick. Hi, Mom. Always good to have the support of our parents, right? Another question that I got from Sheila is how to cut out those dreaded filler words. I get this question all the time. How many of you are guilty of using like, you know? Dude, we all are. It's okay. Forgive yourself. However, there is a way to help combat those. And I don't know if you've heard me say this before, but I'm going to help be your filler buster tonight. Get it? Filler words, filler buster. Okay. Super cheesy, I know. But hopefully that'll help you remember. The way I do it, you know, if I'm being lazy, if I'm just talking to my sister or my husband, I'm dropping you know and like and all the time because I'm just relaxed. I'm not paying attention as much. I'm not making as much of an effort. However, when I am on camera like this, or I'm giving a presentation, I mentally flip a switch in my head to consciously cut out those filler words. And the way I do that, you might have noticed just now, is I pause. I just pause to give me time to think. We use and like and you know because we're afraid of silence. We're uncomfortable with silence. But really, the silence feels longer to you than it does the audience. And the silence can be powerful. The power of the pause is very helpful and can be dramatic in a presentation. When you pause, it makes the viewers or the audience think, oh, she stopped talking for a second. Let me lean in and make sure I hear what she's saying next. So use the power of the pause to grab your audience's attention, as well as giving yourself time to think. So this is going to take practice, though, I promise. This is not going to happen overnight. It didn't happen overnight for me. Really good way of noticing and monitoring how often you do use filler words is by watching yourself. And I know it can be uncomfortable, but use your iPhone, use your smartphone, and record yourself practicing your presentation. And that way you're going to be able to watch it, listen to it, and count how many ums and likes you have. It's okay to have a couple here and there. If you're engaging, if you have great stories, if you have really interactive and lively and appropriate body language, then your audience is not going to mind. But how many of us have been in those situations where it seems like it's every other word, we're counting how many ums they've said, and we're not paying attention to the message anymore, right? You don't want to get to that point. So record yourself and practice. Practice it in your regular conversations too, whether it's with your husband or your friends. And you know, more than likely, it's going to pay off better in your career. When you have to give presentations, pitches, when you're talking to coworkers, when you're talking to your boss, try to flip that switch in your head to just pause instead of using a filler word. So Sharon says, pausing is also a good way to insert a pause for the audience to think about your message. Totally true. You need to let people process what you're saying. You also want to practice enough so that you feel comfortable with your transitions, because that's usually when we're using filler words, right? It's transitioning from one thought to another, one segment to another. And so if we have your transitions down, then you're not going to have to depend on a filler word. You're not going to have to fill an awkward silence. All right, moving on to the next question. Fred asks, what do you do with a noisy audience? Oh, good question. I have definitely been there. And Fred and Sharon are teachers, so you can probably share some tips when it comes to a noisy classroom. And you might use some same tactics as you would with adults, right? So what I've done is I like to keep my audience engaged, and I like to keep my presentations casual, so it can lead to side conversations. So while I do encourage it, it can sometimes get out of control, right? So I will definitely recognize that, hey, I know that we've got some lively conversation going on. I'm really excited that you all are into this conversation and this topic, but let's rein it in and move on to the next point, because I know that you have a limited time, you have a limited schedule, and I want to keep us on track. So you're bringing it back to them. You're bringing it back to serving them and being respectful of their time, and also being respectful of, hey, I'm trying to deliver to you what I promised. So hi, Kim. Hi, Tuan. Thank you for tuning in. So Tuan asks, what do you do to change the energy in the room? Like if they're getting sleepy or tired, start dancing, and singing. No, I'm just kidding. That wouldn't be so professional, but it might be kind of fun. To change up the mood and the energy, what I always do anyways is walk around. I walk around the room to ensure that I'm touching each person, not physically touching, but I'm able to connect with each person in the room with eye contact and to really read their facial expressions and try to understand where they're coming from. I know that if they do look tired, I try not to take it personally, because I know that people obviously have busy schedules. I know I've certainly nodded off in presentations too, and it's not personal. And you have to remember that some people are extroverts, some people are introverts, some people are going to be nodding and smiling at you the whole time, which I love. And other people are just going to be staring blankly or looking down or looking around, and it might be because they process things differently. So I would say keep moving around the room. As I mentioned, I like to incorporate videos. I like to incorporate maybe audio clips. So you're switching things up. So it's not just your voice talking the whole time. And you're breaking up that monotony by bringing in different kinds of visual aids and audio aids, and also calling upon people to interact with you. Start asking questions of the audience. How many of you feel that way? How many of you have been in this situation? Oh yeah, if they raise their hand, tell me about it. So that way that person is engaged. It hopefully will wake up the person next to them, right? So thank you for all the questions. If I haven't gotten to your question, I want to be sure I do get to it in a future video. I don't want to go on and on forever tonight. And I want to make sure I'm giving enough time and giving your questions justice, so that I'm not just speeding through. But I hope this gave you a really good idea of the types of scenarios that other people are in, so you know that you're not alone. I'll answer one more question here. Fred is asking, if you had a choice, would you go first or last in a conference talk? I would choose first, personally. And everything I did, I remember when I was a cheerleader in junior high and high school, if I had a choice, I would always choose to audition first, because you're nervous, I want to get it done with, and I feel like your audience is fresh. They're ready to pay attention and listen and soak it all in. So definitely first. Any of you guys feel the same way? All right, so I want to talk about what I'm going to be working on for year number 2. And I was getting some of you guys' feedback, and I appreciate your suggestions. And I'm thinking that while I am going to continue with Wow Me Wednesdays, I will give you some fresh content bi-weekly, and then also sprinkle in some of my older videos. So it's kind of like TV, right? There's some reruns here and there, but then there's some fresh content. My fresh content I'm really excited about, and the reason why it might go bi-weekly is because I want to do more interviews with people. You might have been able to tell from my past several months that I've been bringing in people to interview, because one, it's hard to just talk into a camera the whole time. I like engaging with people, so it's nice to converse and banter back and forth. Hi, Valeria. Thanks for watching. And secondly, I'm a journalist at heart, so I love to interview people. And while I can give my feedback and my experience, I think so many other people in my network, currently my network I hope to build, have so much insight and so much to offer you, my audience. So I'd love to be able to do more interviews, whether it's Facebook Live or in person. So we're sitting or standing side by side. And that way you guys get a more broad perspective of public speaking and on-camera speaking tips. I want to bring in people who are comedians, like my friend Bob, to be able to share how he uses humor in presentations. I want to interview my friend Tuan, who has his podcast and his own show called YOLO with Tolo, who talks about spirituality and being authentic. And so I feel like there's so many gifts that my friends and other people have to bring. And so I want to bring that to you too. Another great idea, thanks to Fred and Sharon for sharing this with me, is to be able to do a live consultation, or maybe it's recorded, but to show a consultation and to see how I work with people one-on-one. So if any of you are willing to be my first victim, just kidding, be my first participant, I would love to be able to see if we can do a live consultation, record it, and get it out there. That way it promotes you and your business, your projects, as well as showing the kinds of service and the depth that I can offer for clients. So that said, speaking of consultations, I want to be sure to offer you, as I promised, the chance to win a free consultation with me. So those of you who have joined me live, I want to offer you, all of you, a free 20-minute discovery call, one-on-one, so that we can dive deeper into your needs and I can give you some personalized attention and, most importantly, to appreciate you and to say thank you for your support for this past year. Thank you for your support in the future. So I am so happy and excited you were here with me today and that I am celebrating my 1 year and I'm excited for the next year to come. Thanks so much, everyone, and I will see you next time on Wow Me Wednesday.